Hey, hi, I honor you for watching. Does not have a title to this video. So I just wanted to come on and share some revelations, okay, for me. And this may help whoever you all are out there, maybe, maybe not, okay? Have you ever wondered? I'm going to give you some examples and let you play with it, and then we'll talk about it. So, it's a hard pill to swallow to even think that there's anybody in the universe that would actually be trying to sacrifice you. And when I say sacrifice, it helps us to kind of get our minds away from what we see on TV, though that's a real thing. But sacrifice you or me simply meaning like there was some under the cuff, behind the scene dealings that involved your demise in some way. Okay. Your demise in some way, whether that be making sure you stayed in a financial crisis, making sure that you stayed around toxic environments and people and relationships, whether it morphs into actual full on attempts to physically poison you and harm you, hiring bounty hunters, spellcasters, working with government officials behind the scene to attempt to get you caught up. It's a hard pill for anybody to swallow, okay? And let me explain why that's hard pill to swallow. It's a hard pill for the collective, even the targeted population that um they're the ones experiencing it, okay? It's hard for them to swallow. Yes, as I'm doing the video, there are people that are provoking my son's surveillance on his patio as well as his front door. But that only proves what I've been saying the entire time. Okay. I do get the alert. They possibly think that because they can see me here, that I'm not going to see or that I'm not going to know. But that's not true. I do have other devices and I can also see on this one. Okay. It's just that quick. I don't care if it was just a blip, a throw something. It's the fact that I come on live. And as soon as I come on live, my son's security system starts to go off. Soon as I went on live, the front door ding notification went off, as well as his patio. Just that quick. I haven't been on for a whole 3 minutes, and just that quick, there was activity. I don't care how fast, lightning fast it was. Just that quick, there was activity that went off. And guess what? It's not going off now. And I'm sure that there are cars going up and down Northwest Parkway that his camera can catch, but for whatever reason, it's not going off now. So basically, it's helping me, but it's also going to prove something to the rest of the world who don't want to believe it. That it's a part of what they're doing is tied into my social media. And as soon as they think I am live, then that's when they try to go and do some shit. They do it all day, every day, but it doesn't matter. Okay, that's not what this live is about. I'm talking about how it's a hard pill to swallow for anybody to think that they or their children would be sacrificed to any group, any organization for any reason. It's hard to, because what normal brain? Okay, let's just play with that. Okay, what healthy normal motherfucker? Huh? Sit with it. What healthy, normal motherfucker does that under any circumstance? I don't care if they're mad as if they're livid to where their face is actually turned into a whole flame. What healthy, sound, relatively grounded, normal individual agrees to such a thing? Exactly. So that's why it's hard to swallow. People think that the collective automatically just swallowed this shit. Like, oh yeah, sure. I can. Like, no, that's what took so long. That's why they go back and forth for a trillion years. That's why they're always giving these family members and all these people a trillion, thousand, bazillion chances, because it's a hard thing to believe. It's mind numbing. This is the kind of shit that people think you only experience when you go to the theater and watching movies. It's a hard thing to swallow, but it's real. Now I'm going to give you an example of why it seems so hard and real for the collective and everybody else. I'm going to give you some real time examples. We talk about communal narcs and covert or collapsed narcs, and I'm going to say that that's possibly the primary reason it's hard. Communal collapsed covert narcs are, they're going to be, I don't care if they're not diagnosed, let's just say that's their personality trait. Okay, if you want to lean into, wait a minute, they're antagonists. Okay, their brains don't light up in the place that's not, and this is not insulting, y'all got to get your chonies and your draws out of the thither here, because that's what I'm, that part is science. That's not something that I pulled out of the side of my neck. Okay, the problem is you got to get them under one of them motherfuckers to get it looked at. See, that's what the world got to catch up to in the first place. Their brains, when our brains are being studied, neuroscience, theirs is not gonna, at certain, like when you do certain things, it's not gonna light up. The place that is over empathy. Okay, I didn't say these people were dumb. So again, get your draws and your chonies out of bunch. I didn't say that they were dumb. I didn't say that they were not intelligent. That's not what I said. I was speaking from science in terms of our every area of the brain and its functions covers certain aspects about the human experience as we know it. There's stuff in us that governs empathy, natural, not learned empathy, not copied and paste empathy, not empathy that they'll clone into in order for a cause, because they do know how to imitate that. But you can't imitate it under MRI. Ah, see, there it is. There it is. Because that's science. If they do certain things, it's like it's supposed to like do that. Like there's a light up. That's just all neuroscience, okay? And theirs don't, because they don't have it. We're not going to get into why they don't have it. I'm not. That's not what this discussion is. But now, they know how society operates, so they have to mimic. Okay, I hope that makes sense. They are intelligent enough to know, and from the primitive nature, oh, society operates this way. If I say this, then this. If I do this, then this. And then, so they have learned that and have managed to be able to use that in their favor without it really being truth. Okay, that's the thing about it. And as a communal narc, the reason why they lean really strongly into that is because that really solidifies the whole idea of them being a good person. So now let me give you some real-time examples. Let's say you were sick. Let's say you had a cold, allergies, um, something. Okay, let's make it light. I'm not gonna make it heavy. Let's just make it light. And you know, you have a cold. You're having a flare up. You got the sneezies, um, and you've worked hard and you're tired, right? Let's say you worked a job or you traveled, and you're like, oh my god, and your hay fever and you're coughing. You got a sore throat, right? I have to give these examples so people can make sense of it. And let's say this person, because this is going to seem, for us, for normal people, we're going to feel a certain kind of way, which is a natural process. Okay. So let's say they, whoever they are, they don't have to be your lover, y'all. This could be a friend. This could be a relative. It doesn't have to always be, we're not always talking about romantic partner. Okay. Because this applies beyond just romantic partners. Okay. And so let's say you're visiting their home and this happened. Like, let's say you traveled, you were tired, you worked hard, you got a lot. You do a lot for them, possibly, and maybe a whole lot of other people. Okay. So, you know, and now let's say that, you are in a relationship or you're starting one, and, you're trying to, you just got a lot. You have a new relationship that you vibing with, and that person knows about it because maybe you're talking about it, like, oh, I'm gonna do blah blah blah. And so say this friend, this associate, this family member, let's say they just go over the top, like they give you some Kool-Aid, some Tang, they're cleaning your nose, um, they're handing you the tissue box, and then they give you a fistful of medicine. Now, what I just said, just play with it without me going anywhere else with it. Doesn't that sound like somebody very loving and caring? Like, for real. Like, let's pretend like we're not finna deal with some under the cuff shit. Just on the surface of what I said, based on those actions, period, without any other knowing, that would tell the person that's being targeted, as well as anybody watching, that, oh, look how caring they are. Look how they're going above and beyond. They care for their friend, their cousin, their home, whatever it is. Look how extra they're going to make sure this person got a box of Kleenex when they're, because their nose is running, and they're giving them vapor rub and making sure they got lozenges and making, just going above and beyond, giving them a sandwich and a fistful of medicine to hopefully, kick out, all of that. We're all going to think that, and we're not stupid for thinking it. It's because these are behavior actions that are associated with someone that is kind, and people that are antagonists, they, or more communal narcissists, they've learned that. And so and when they learn it, but they also exploit. Now I'm going to bridge it. Nobody's going to think anything of these acts, because those are what appears to be very loving and caring actions. Ain't nobody finna be side eyeing that. Nobody is going to be raising their eyebrow to that. People are going to be sitting back in awe, talking about they wish they had somebody like that, not knowing the rest of the story. Might as well stop trying to test me. I don't know why to even bother. Anywho, um, so this is why this is a hard pill to swallow. It's even harder if this is your blood, because you've had your whole life, and this looks like carrying actions of a loving and caring family. Okay. Now, so this is what takes us so long to even be able to see through a lot of the shit. Because what if I told you, because remember I said it's hard to think that you're being sacrificed. It's hard to believe that anybody would be trying to sabotage you, your life, or your happiness, even if this is not on a grand scale. This could just be simply somebody is trying to sabotage your life for the benefit of themselves, even when it's on a smaller scale. That's still a form of sacrificing you. I'm going to sacrifice you and your happiness to make sure that I keep and maintain control over you, and to make sure that I get the benefit off of you. Like that I get to keep that in check. I get to, that's still a form of sacrifice. Because what if I told you that in that instance, that none of that was care? What if I told you that that was sabotage? What if I told you that that individual didn't want that person to leave? That individual didn't want that person to be happy outside of anything that's in the constructs of their control? What if I told you that they wanted that person to stay right there? So they did all of that extra caretaker shit because maybe they know that that's what that person likes. Especially if they're your family, they know you better than anybody else. Okay, if they're your family, or if there's somebody that grew up with you, a baby mama, baby, people who've known you for a significant amount of time. So they lean into that. And now let's say they're secretly jealous of this person. And see, we don't, this is why we can't accept some of this stuff. That they're secretly jealous of this person, and or they're jealous of maybe this person's a hard worker and how they're able to get it done, or they're jealous of their hustle, or they're jealous of their relationship, something like that. Because maybe the other person has to always be in some kind of a trickster energy, or whatever it is that they feel. So let's say they're jealous of a relationship this person's getting started, and they don't want this person, they want to sabotage it. Because what if I told you that they did all of the caretaking, gave the person the medicine, so that the person, they knew that the person, what they gave them, they possibly put a spell on it, but they also knew that it would knock them out. The person could have told them, they could have known that this person had a routine of they're going to go and talk to their girlfriend, or they're going to go and want to spend time with, whatever the case. And so just real nice and conveniently, they put on the apron and the extra caretaker shit when all of the other shit don't work. Oh, I need a TV fixed. I need a TV mounted. I need a new TV. I need to drive to get shit that I don't need, to make sure that you don't give it to them. I'm just saying. Ha. What if I told you that all of that caring actions was sabotage to ensure that they didn't have their full capacity? They knew if this person going to pass out, that they're not going to be paying attention to their phone, and that they going to be paying attention to their phone, so that when they see somebody contact them that they don't want contacting them, that they can push the decline button as to sabotage, because they know most people are intelligent to know the difference between if a phone continued to ring and just to default into voicemail versus somebody literally pushing the button to basically ignore or decline the call. So what if I told you that all happened? That carrying act don't seem too much. It don't seem the way it did at first. At first, it seems gushy, gushy, happy, happy, joy, joy, sweet, sweet. We are family. Got all my brothers and sisters with me. That's what it seemed like at first. Now it seems like something more sinister, something more sneaky. Hmm. I wanted to share that example to help people to realize these are the things that happen in real time. I like giving real examples the way real life happens versus just a bunch of fancy words and effect and shit like that. It's like real examples of how does this shit play out and why is it so hard to decipher. And this is why it's hard to decipher. And once humans can catch up with this aspect, then it becomes simpler because you realize that that's a factor. Once you add those behind the scene variables, that same act doesn't seem as loving as it did. Now let's give you another example, a real-time example. Let's say you are a single parent, and let's say your life is going in an upheaval. You don't know yet that the reason why all these things are happening is due to the very people that's closest to you. You still don't know. And you're just attempting to do what any healthy, relatively sound and grounded adult will do. Try to take ownership of your life the best you can, make the best of all situations. Try to evaluate what your possible options are, in the most healthiest way you can think of, and you troubleshoot that. And you say, okay, well, if you're a parent, let me see if the daddy could have them, bitch, for 6 months. Let me figure this shit out. Let me see if the like whatever the case may be. Okay. And now, so let's say your relatives, whether this be an aunt, an uncle, auntie, cousin, mother, father, sister, brother, let's say they then thinking that they know you. Let's say, remember, you still don't know that they're involved to them. You still think they just crazy. Right now, you don't know that they're crazy is actually warped into everything that's been happening with your life. You don't know that yet. Okay. Um, so let's say, let's say they know about, obviously they know about the situation. Okay. But let's say you haven't cut them off, obviously, yet, and you're talking to them and they make an offer to you. Remember, we're still talking communal narcissism. So let's say they make an offer to you, as they talk to you, they say, hey, if you want, you can send your son here. You can send them here with me. And you can keep their money. Look, this because they see that's this is gonna get good. They do that because that's what the kind of shit they own. So they think that by throwing that in, saying that you don't have to this and that's gonna really sweeten it up to make you want to go, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'll send my son there and he won't ever be seen ever again. Oh, yeah, yeah. I'll sure. So they offer you to have you to send, yes, sure, send them here, I'll take care of, and so that way you can, have the freedoms to figure yourself out, not have to worry about dragging them from pillar to post or putting them, you know in any kind of harsh way. But what they ain't gonna tell you, bitch, the harm's way is where you, nigga, oh, I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna help you see what you don't want to see, because our limited thinking processes is why many of us can't see past what shit. We're looking at acts such as making an offer to the targeted person to allow their child to come stay with them while they figured out everything without requiring the money. That was supposed to push it because they're money driven. But on the surface, see, now let's play with it, because remember, we're talking about why is it difficult to see before you even know how far this stuff has gone. And because there's nobody that's going to naturally think that their own relatives, caretakers, all this stuff would be sinister to that degree. They may know that the person is jealous. They may know that they cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs to a degree, but no one thinks that they are actually trying to sacrifice their children to a cult, their children or their grandchildren. No, ain't nobody waking up. There's no one waking up with that. Nobody. Most of us refuse to even believe it's a thing because of different factors. But nobody. That's a part of why it's hard. And what would the sacrificing of them be to a cult? Or like I said, for some of you, if it's on a smaller scale, it may not even be in this example that, oh, they're doing that to sacrifice your kid to a cult. It could be they're telling you that they're not going to require anything, but then once they get the child there, they'll be trying to claim that you are, they ain't gonna tell you this, but then they'll be trying to claim like you inept. Now that they got the kid in their possession, you follow me, because this is how these trashy motherfuckers think. Now that they have them in their possession, this will be all the more easy. And if the distance was far, that means that just fell right into the plan. Then they'll be coming up with, they just can't, they're not telling you this. They act like they're loving and they just want to help you. But behind the scene, they're talking, they're calling people, they're networking, they're so-called wellness checking. They're doing all sorts of things, which I find fascinating. People talking about they don't want to talk to somebody. They don't have a problem with talking to their trashy homegirl about shit. They don't have that they ain't got no business sharing shit with. Another day, another video. So now, as I was saying, that the more passive side, where it's not to do with something as big as sacrificing, promising, gonna sacrifice to a cult and they gonna die and they care, they gonna let them sit up there, vegetate and do this, in other cases, it's simply they want power of attorney because they're a low life cunt. Okay, it's just a low life nigga, bitch, cunt, sorry, hoe, trash bag, motherfucker. And they want power of attorney. They want a free check. They want some, various different reasons they would do that. But to get leverage over you, because I guarantee you, people switch up the game once you agree to the things in which they pretend to offer. Oh, lesson of my life. Once they have you there, they put you in a vulnerable position. What you gonna do? Mm-hmm. See, before we got all the details, that seemed once again like a very supportive energy. A very loving, caring, self-sacrificing. The vibe is, oh, I wish I had somebody that would have offered me that. But then they torture, they get the kid in their possession, they don't treat them right. They basically put poison in their food, let them sleep, and then would have called you with some soppy, some fake crying, bitch. Oh, I would have, well, let me not go there because, oh, they ought to be glad. I'm going to say it like this. What I'm referring to in this aspect, they ought to be glad that I didn't agree. They ought to be. Because if I had, and if some shiznit would have went down, let's just say they wouldn't have had to worry anymore about karma. Okay? So they ought to be glad in my case. But these are the things that makes it hard for anybody, which also makes it difficult for the targeted population because nobody else wants to believe it. So they look like the villain. They look like the bad guy when they don't want to deal with these people. They look like the villain. They look like the bad guy when they're angry and upset and expressing those things because, once again, on the surface, this looks like an ideal supporter, especially if this person is good with putting on airs and crying, bitch, and rocking, and you know what I'm saying? They real good at that kind of shit. I really, I don't know. I've done nothing but the best I could. Sugar, 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 sugar. In front of who they want to do that for, but they don't know they got a shrine with voodoo dolls with the child shit in it that they trying to. You see what I'm saying? Or that they putting poison in their food. Talking about, here's your favorite macaroni and cheese got poison in and then they would have gotten sick and it would look like an accident and it wouldn't have been no accident. What would have happened next? So they ought to be glad. That's all I'm saying. Because that's exactly what energies like this is trying to manufacture. Something to look like an accident. Like just a tragic situation versus what it is, which was premeditated murder. Slowly poisoning somebody is premeditated murder. That's premeditated murder. Or it's claiming somebody got sick and then playing Nurse Ratchet role and deciding to speedy up the process. That is why this is hard to accept and see and process. Nobody's thinking this way. This is hideous. There's nobody thinking that way naturally. It's hideous. Nobody is thinking that there's people. I mean, healthy folks ain't just naturally thinking, sure, yeah, sure, yeah, okay, sure. People is just willing to put poison on people's shit because they need some money. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, and that's why the target population it be susceptible, vulnerable, and shit happen because it's not natural. There's nothing natural about that. And not liking somebody, being mad at somebody, or wishing somebody was whatever does not qualify for that type of behavior. It's still not natural. Period. Anything shy of you fighting for your life in a sense of somebody is literally coming for you, they won't leave you alone, and you're forced to put their ass on their ass. Anything shy of that, shit ain't normal. Me and my son was sacrificed by our relatives and many others. But I am giving you all why this is so hard for the world to understand. Because there's nobody that naturally thinks that way. And they're certainly not going to think that way about somebody that's seeming to have on an apron and giving you boxes of Kleenexes and cleaning, blowing your nose. Like there's certainly, but see, what I'm starting to realize that predator types are more often the ones that are lurking the most. Predators are the ones that's going to always be asking you about who's sick in the family because they're trying to get a laundry list of who the fuck they can, either possibly schmooze up so they can get a piece of the pie. Get an assurance poly on. And for those that are into the dark stuff so that they can do some other weird shit with it and all of that other stuff. More often than not, predator types are usually pandering, and pandering implies not just to some kind of like external population of such. A pandering could be whom in their family, their circle. So appeasing to the very ones that they're targeting. So in other words, hoovering around, acting like a rescuer, acting like a supporter, a caregiver, you know, as to have access to these people's vulnerabilities. So they can treat these people like cattle, basically, like cattle, and like a commodity to be sold at the human grocery store, bitch. That's how I feel about it. It's like, oh, this is like they got them a commissary. This is a human grocery store. Oh, I think I want to sacrifice this. Oh, if especially somebody come with a deal, let's say some weird old famous schmo, you know what I'm saying? Come to them. That's why they willing to give you that box of tissue and them fistful of pills. Let's say I'm just saying. Their humanity went out the door as soon as that famous person sent them a message. I'm just saying, as soon as the famous person sent them a message, humanity got shut off and their eyeballs turned from having, the black in the middle, that, how the brown is in the middle, that changed and turned into dollar signs. As soon as they got the message, as soon as they got the message from the famous person. And that's where it all began. Okay, whether it's the famous person, an elite occult, a distorted government person, or even just like I said, y'all, on a smaller scale, when it's just about they just want to keep leverage, power, and control. And the moment they can get some people to collab with them and create an opportunity, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, boom, bitch. Okay, do this, do this, do this, this, and I'll give you a part of this. And until the world is willing to look at these unseen variables and look at though it's sinister and it's insidious and it's just unmentionable, doesn't mean it ain't possible. It doesn't mean it ain't real. It's inconvenient when it's people that we broke bread with, that we played tetherball with, that we were in the drill team with, that we went to Linwood with, that we went to Dominguez with, that we went to, you said it's morning side, nigga. It's just that we were in a church choir with. We don't want to see it in that case because we still see the face of the person that, was standing in the choir line while we was on the piano and the organ, bitch. Oh, child. Done said something. Ooh, I done said something. These are variables though, and y'all, hey, how about you Google this stuff and do some research? Because you know what? That's what I've been doing and what I'll continue to do. So that way, as you sit and reflect and do your life, you ain't just swallowing nothing from nobody, including from me. How about that? That's what makes things challenging. It would be so cinchy if everything had a name tag and everything was overt and everything was clearly identified and clearly seen. But that's not life, especially when you're dealing with this type of stuff. Nobody wants to believe that somebody they married, nobody, I promise you, don't nobody want to believe that. Nobody wakes up trying to see that. We like to believe that even if we are at odds and we have differences and we may not even want to speak to one another again, we like to believe that there's still some human decency, but that's just not the case all the time. We assume it. That's our form of projection. It is. That is our form. We don't mean harm with the projection, but just how they project their nasty, yucky energy onto us because they assume that we're them, that we operate the same way that they do. Well, we in the light attribute project that because we would not do such a thing, that means no one would do such a thing. And that couldn't be more further from the truth. There's no way I would have ever attempted to sacrifice anybody's child. And I don't care if their child was an adult. I don't care what my rationale was. There's nothing that could put me in that position. And I can say that with confidence. Nothing. Not even for my own ass. Not even to save my own ass. Absolutely not. But can you see, since this is the truth for me, then it makes sense as to why it's hard for me to, initially was hard for me to fathom that somebody would. Because there's nothing in me that would do it. That's why. Mm. Huh. Oof. Yeah. There's nothing in me that would do it. I don't have any template or a line of things to say that would cause me to wake up ding 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 one day because Joe Schmo with a Tesla come to me talking some shit. There's nothing. They could, that's why they ain't coming, because they already know it ain't something that I would take. It's in my frequency. That's why. It's in my vibration, baby. It's not in my words. It's not in my actions. It's not in my social media platform. It's in my vibration. That's why ain't nobody gonna ask me no shit like that. And it's not like, aside of that, there's nothing in me that would do it. I don't care if I was blazing, living mad to where my whole head was a flame of fire. There's nothing that's gonna say, "Oh, just standard joke, standard schmando." Oh, I'm mad at them, so I'm fencing the. I'm mad at them. Let me go take his information to this weird ass caster that ain't got no goddamn integrity. Or no goddamn discernment or wisdom for that matter. I would just simply be mad. See, but that's a projection. That's me projecting who I am. I would just be upset. If I'm mad at somebody, then I'm mad. And I would, talk mad trash. I'll talk shit, you know what I'm saying? Give me a new wig and talk shit and eat some ice cream until I'm not mad no more. You know what I'm saying? I would do that, and then I would move on. Like my greatest, the biggest thing is that I would move on in life and simply not deal with them. If I feel like it warrant to me to not deal with them because of whatever, then I won't deal with them. And then my life, I move on. But I'm not gonna be calculating and being like a weird Hooverer, paying bitches and niggas and shit. Being creepy from Creeperson's Creepinsville on social media, and it's like, well, who they kids, and pan practitioners, I want you to cause a kid to get sick, and I want you to. That's some crackhead whole shit. That's some other shit. Even like I said, that's me though. Even if I was mad. Now, if there was any criminal charges or something that, like, if I needed to, like, I would go the parameters I needed to if this person did like something serious to me. But That's about all she wrote. Okay, if they stole some, like, I'm just thinking of all stuff, but there's nothing in me that would just, because I'm mad or my little feelings hurt, my ego crushed, they said something to hurt my feelings. Like, there's no, I'm not killing people because they said something to hurt my feelings. And I'm certainly not just going for people's children because they said something to hurt my feelings. That's some whack job shit. That, and but I come to realize that that is a projection. The reason why it was too hard for so long is because there was an assumption, my projection, that everybody had a certain baseline of decency. And everybody do not. People do not give a fuck. They can have, it don't matter. We rationale talk about, though they got kids, that don't matter. That don't mean shit. All it means is possibly all the more reason, since the way they operating is fucked up, that all the more reason that they are willing to do fucked up shit to secure them and their own. So them having kids don't mean nothing. They these motherfuckers don't care. And until we accept that, that's not morbid. That's not grim. That's wisdom. Because we, people like myself, we were not it. We butterflies, glitter, fairy dust, right? Thinking that the, oh, but that's not the truth. Is That's not the truth. Is In terms of the experience at large of what we're around sometimes, especially if there were people that made sure to manufacture us being around a lot of density. A lot, in other words, a lot of negativity. Let me sit up here. Ouch. I sit like that too long. Bitch, let me straighten this shit. Gotta stretch it out. Shit, bitch. You ain't 20. You can't be just leaning like old days when you was on the phone, bitch. Oh, because that's what it's like. Because I'm kind of on the phone. Like, right? But I can't do that shit. I ain't 20. You know? I can remember I was in my 20s, bitch. I could be up till the sun came up, bitch. In one position and still was fine, bitch. The shit, the Halle Berry haircut still on tilt and shit. Ha, still looking like a chocolate. As they would say, a chocolate Halle Berry back then. Okay, that's what they would call me, looking like a chocolate Halle Berry or a chocolate Tony Braxton. Those are some common things people said back in the day. But because I was like bony, skinny, and had wore the short haircut when that became like a thing. I went and got all my hair cut off and was like, whoop. And then I learned how to do hair myself because I went to cosmetology school. And so then that's something else people don't know about me. Oh, see, I'm getting off topic. But see, all of these little things matter because humans assume a whole lot of shit as a default. We do. We have our judgments. And if they see somebody looking decent, they be like, well, they not doing too bad because what are they doing with the money? And what are they doing? Just all knows all up in some other grown folk business. And little do they know, some of us we did all these things so that we can master basically taking care of ourselves in situations in which we ain't got much to work with. People need so badly to see us looking busted and disgusted. It just don't make no goddamn sense. For them to feel like we deserve to have support, for them to feel like, you know what I'm saying, they're winners and better, and for them to feel like we're legit and sincere. Why do we have to look like we just slept under the freeway to be deserving? What if we're trying to keep our heart and spirits lively so that ain't nobody going to do shit for you, and you ain't finna get no job, and you ain't finna do none of that, your ass walking around looking fucked up? Humans be stupid sometimes. I swear they be stupid. Just stupid. It's like this person is trying to keep their spirits up, bitch. What's wrong with you? Why do you need them to look busted? It's because you feel ugly, but you pretend like you don't. But the only way that you can feel like you're not is to sabotage someone else's physical appearance. Whether that be by spell work or attempt to sabotage their means to take care of themselves. And poison, something that's going to alter their health, make them weak. See, these are crazy motherfuckers. And it's a thing. And they look like you and I. And they have beautiful homes and beautiful profiles and awards all over their office buildings. And they have all these things. Glowing testimonies of their paid actors. And I said it correctly. Paid actors. Communal narcissism is one of the most insidious forms of it because it's the mommy dearest vibe. It's the chick from the Run, the movie Run. These people come off as helpers. But the ones that they're helping in most cases are the ones that they're abusing and hurting at the same time. Because they need leverage, they need power, they need control. They could be addicted to the person's energy. And like I said, in some cases, trying to sacrifice those that are into the weird, dark, weirdy shit. Sacrifice them to the children of the corn. These motherfuckers have sacrificed me and my son to the goddamn children of the corn. Nigga. And it is the truth. Whether you or anybody out there in this universe want to accept it or not. That is what this whole shit has been in Texas. But it was also the case in Nevada. California as well. But in California, more other things happened. Me and my son had several close encounters with physical death. The accident that we had in 2006, my mother's behind from an energetic spell work perspective. Okay. Period. Situations where my son got lost in college and some cops came to get him. He's somehow in high school, the nigga bitch, you know what I'm saying? That, nah. It was happening in California. Shit was happening there. For those who think this is something to do with church, wrong. I was in church, baby. Living far better than any of the ones talking shit about me now. They were swinging on poles, popping pills, looking for thrills, suicidal at this time. So it ain't had nothing to do with that. That's the whole point of why I'm telling the story. My son was on a bus, a public bus, sitting on the back. A bullet busted through the back. They had to get everybody off of the bus. Yeah, this happened. Yeah, it happened. Uh-huh. His team, my team, that shit, that bullet went it passed him. But he didn't suffer all kind of crazy, weird, sicko abuse that I'm gonna make full sure of. Let's just say I have a list. Let's just leave it at that. And Texas is first. And the reason why Texas is first is because that's where he is. We gonna work our way back. I became a social media content creator, and many that are like myself, this is what increased all of these weirdo opportunities. People watching me and getting activated and triggered, and those with money and resources, positions, and so forth deciding that they wanted to do some foul shit. I have a problem with that, and I'm going to deal with it appropriately. People have been selfish. They stole me and my son's life, and it just never, it wasn't, it's never enough. They stole our life. I took falls for shit I had no business taking falls for as a fucking kid, a fucking teenager. They stole our life. And in some cases, like I said, I'm doing my own background work. I may very well find out I'm not who I think I am. I am not the origins in which I think I am. And in which case, that's something else I'm pissed about. Because again, this insensitivity and dehumanizing my life so that some sorry motherfucker could be famous is sickening. Because it didn't fit into somebody's cushy idea of the all American happy family. If I find out, and let me tell you something, let's tell you something, let's tell you something. Because see, I don't have the facts yet. So I won't stake those claims. I won't attempt. There's too many people that's always looking for schemes in this world, and I'm aware of that. People come up right there, they poll, they ain't got shit, and then all of a sudden they want to claim to be the long lost somebody, bitch. You know? I ain't even really interested in that. I'm just pissed on the whole notion of if it's the truth, and then I don't even care. It's like if it's the truth, and then I have motherfuckers coming for me and my son's family as if we not supposed to. I got a problem with that. That I'm a handle. I have a problem with that. It's one thing to not want to care for me. It's one thing to not want me. That's one thing, and that's a valid choice. That's very well fine and dandy. It's one thing to not want to have anything to do with that. It's another thing to feel entitled to control my life, though. That I'm a handle. You can bank on it. You can fucking bank on it. I'm doing some things in the background as I speak, even pertaining to that. So that I can find out for myself. So that I can get to the answers pertaining to my actual birth origins. And if I find some shit out, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. People be so worried. They worry about their little image and their little money. That trips me out. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. It trips me the fuck out. It's like, so you're going to dehumanize a whole human being and their children because your sorry ass is worrying what the fuck, how shit look. Are you fucking kidding me? Or you worry about your little money. That's your karmic family's MO. Shit, nigga. That's the part. Ooh. Uh-oh. Some of them ain't gonna even realize that until they get to their deathbed. That all that love and feeling they family was karmics. And then my face is gonna flash before their eyes. Yep. What is this with humans? We so worried about reputation. Baffles me. It baffles me. I know that none of us wants to be seen. You know, nobody signs up to just want to be seen in a bad light. But it's like, okay, but how far does that go? How far? It's like, okay, especially, and I'm off topic and I'm going to end it here momentarily. But in the case of like, I'm almost 50 years old, okay? So if I am an illegitimate, somebody, chances are, now this is just the chances are they were very young, okay, when I came to be. Everybody has, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has a story. So it's like, okay, so it doesn't fit into this perfect, clean version of your life, but that's still been a part of your journey. Maybe this is where transformation really happens. Hey, I was young, I was stupid, and I wanted to make it, and and here come Brother Hollywood and all of they toxic offers. I wanted to get me and my family out to get, like, everybody's got a story. And the younger we are, it's more, I don't want to say it's understandable or makes it okay. It's just when you think of it, it's like, okay, I can see that. But to take it to turn into a 50-year thing, no, we can't see that because that's 50 years. I decided that if this was going to be what I had to deal with, that I was going to make a whole lot of mess, that I was going to be a problem. And I am. And it's not because I desire to just be that. It's the simple fact that anybody on this plane of existence really thought it was a good idea to come for me and my son. And since that's what people are on, and me and my son gonna have to deal with it, I'm just gonna be a problem. And I meant that. If there's no ease for me and my son, I'm gonna make sure I disrupt ease for everyone else. As this pertains to those that I know are a part of it, I am not referencing innocent life. Somebody's going to say, well, innocent life will be affected. Uh-huh. Exactly. Touche, my friend. So is my son. And so am I. There's nothing that me or my son or the collective that this might apply to. There's nothing that we've done to warrant any of this. This is people's mental illness. This is people's greed. This is people's entitlement. This is people's jealousy, people's insecurity. Period. The